It has been a minute since we talked about the periodic table. In this video, we want to visit this section of the table, specifically number 31, gallium. This element was discovered by a French man named Paul-Émile. Paul-Émile is a short version. This is the real name, and you have to say it in a French accent.
Paul-Émile Lecoq de Bois-Baudran.
Paul-Émile discovered this element in 1875 in his laboratory, and in that year, he didn't say anything special about this metal. He only tested it with a few different metals to create different alloys with it, but he was not successful. In terms of looks, gallium is very similar to mercury, and we've made a video about it. But fortunately, this metal has nothing to do with mercury. Mercury turns into liquid in -38 degrees centigrade, but gallium turns into liquid in 29 degrees Celsius. And that means in normal weather, it's usually a solid, but if you hold it in the palm of your hand, since your skin is about 37 degrees centigrade, it will melt into a liquid. And another interesting thing about this metal is that it's not toxic like mercury, and it doesn't cause cancer. So you can handle it without feeling threatened. Anyways, where can you find gallium? There are plenty of spots you can find gallium, but it's never in pure form. It has to be processed to be pure, just like what Paul-Émile did in his laboratory. You can find gallium in zinc mines, and in zinc minerals you can find gallium. Another place where gallium is plentiful is an aluminum rock called bauxite. Bauxite is one of the most plentiful minerals in the world, and you could find them everywhere in Earth's crust, and 8% of it is made up of aluminum. Between this aluminum, you can find gallium as well, and that is why you never find a gallium mine. Places that mine aluminum or zinc, there is a gallium section as well. But what is this element good for anyways? What can we use it for? Pure gallium, meaning the highest quality you can make, is used for a semiconductor. Most of the semiconductors around the world are made up of silicon, and we've made a video on that. Gallium in the highest quality, meaning 99.99999%, it could be turned into a semiconductor. Like for example, in the United States, 98% of the gallium is used for semiconductors. And in 99% of electronics used today, you will find gallium in the electronics. Another use of gallium is that they mix it with other metals and create different alloys. You guys have seen thermometers, right? There's a liquid in there that back in the day they called mercury, and back then it was really mercury. But nowadays you could see them with gallium and tin mixed with each other, and that allows the metal to stay in liquid form and go up and down based on the temperature. It also looks just like mercury. There is another element called indium, and on the periodic table, it's located right here. They mix gallium and indium together, and they get a paste called thermal paste. And you should be familiar with it if you know anything about computers. If you don't know what it's used for, it's a grease that's located between electronics to keep it cool, especially the CPU. But we have to say that most thermal pastes are made up of silicon, and it's not only gallium and indium. Back in the day, they used to say mirrors cause cancer. Why is that? Because they would use mercury behind glass so you could make glass reflective. But technology got rid of this, and nowadays you can create high quality mirrors using different things. One of those, gallium. And just like mercury, they rub it against the glass and create a reflective surface, and it doesn't cause cancer anymore. Let's continue. Aluminum bauxite is so common on Earth's surface that you can find aluminum inside the oceans and waters of the Earth. And alongside the aluminum in the waters, you could also find gallium. We gotta be thankful that there is not a lot of mercury in the waters, because all the waters will be toxic for us. And if you would jump in the water, you might have died. When we say there is metal in the oceans, we're not saying there's a hefty amount. There's a little bit throughout the ocean, and it's not that much that it hurts marine life. But when humans throw trash like minerals and metals in the ocean, it's very unnatural. And in that body of water, a lot of marine life could lose their life because it ruins the oxygen in that environment. There are 5 different elements that are in liquid metal form in normal temperatures: mercury, cesium, rubidium, and francium. But gallium is not similar to any of those. Like for example, if you pour it in a glass container and if you let it cool off and turn into a solid again, just like when the water freezes inside your radiator and it cracks everything and it destroys the engine, gallium does the same thing to a glass container. And that is why it's always poured in plastic containers, so it expands. You guys probably know arsenic, because we've made a video on it last month. If you mix gallium and arsenic together, you get gallium arsenide, and it's plenty of uses with this material, especially LED lamps. You guys probably know Blu-ray discs. They're pretty outdated now. The reason it's called Blu-ray, because it's basically using a semiconductor made by gallium arsenide, and that signature blue color and the name Blu-ray is because of the gallium arsenide used in there. And most importantly, a lot of solar panels use this material, and you see that dark blue color, that's also caused by gallium arsenide. When Paul Emil discovered gallium in 1875, there wasn't any use for it, but the more we move forward, the more we realize how valuable this metal or element is. The melting point and boiling point is the greatest between all elements. Gallium turns into liquid in 29 degrees centigrade, and it boils in 2403 degrees centigrade. Do you see the difference? I cannot believe how great this distance is. And that is why between all elements, it has the greatest boiling to melting temperature. You guys have heard of calcium supplements, and some doctors suggest you take it, especially for people with bone problems. But you have to know, in some calcium supplements, you could find gallium in there, and that helps the calcium be more effective, especially in terms of keeping your bones stronger. Mining gallium between the bauxite of aluminum is one of the easiest things you could do in a mine. When you heat up the bauxite rock or any other mineral that has gallium, the first thing that's gonna be extracted is the gallium. The process of doing this with gallium is called smelting. But we have to say that gallium is the enemy of other minerals. You don't even have to mix it with other metals. You could just put it onto it and it starts destroying it. Right here, he's putting some gallium on an aluminum can, and let's see what happens. The aluminum can gets very brittle and it literally breaks in pieces. Aluminum is pretty thin. Let's see what happens if you put it on a steel lot. It also makes steel brittle and everything breaks off. Anyways, how much is gallium? Gallium is not like other metals that have a set price, and it all depends on the purity of the gallium. If you want greater than 99.999% gallium, you're gonna pay more than $500 per kilo. But the lower the purity gets, the cheaper the price gets. Each of these nines that is taken out this number, meaning 99.999, the lower the price gets. And then eventually, you will reach 99% gallium. And that is the cheapest one at $150 per kilo.